Turn it up, clocking out, driving home, or just turning on. We got the remedy for the daily grind, Monday through Friday. 3:30 to 5:30 EST. Get ready for the shift. It's the Taz effect. It's the Taz effect. Changing up your view, bringing news, history, and commentary to you. 2 hours of power, 5 days a week. It's the real talk and the truth that you see. Yeah.
Tune your dial, clear your head. Listen up to what's being said.
Yeah,
Hey.
kick it off on Mutual Aid Monday. We're giving back, helping the community. You're staying on track. And Tuesday rolls around and the studio gets blessed. It's Talk About It Tuesday with the smoking hot mess.
From the middle of the week, we're leveling up your brain. Wisdom Wednesday is here to break the mundane.
Surprising guests to enhance the whole world. Watch the knowledge and the stories get unfurled. It's the Taz effect, changing up your view, bringing news, history, and commentary to you. 2 hours of power, 5 days a week. It's the real talk and the truth that you see. Now Thursday hits and the lines open wide. No placeholders here, nowhere to hide. Think about it Thursday, yeah, the mic is all yours. Call in, chat live, let's open up the door. And just like that, the weekend's inside. We're wrapping up the weekend, we're doing it right. Fun News Friday is the ultimate news party. Coasting you into the weekend, feeling good and hearty. 3:30 to 5:30, making your daily check. Lock it in, turn it up. You just
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me for the Taz Effect Daily News in a way you did not know you could use. For those listening in over the radio airwaves at GCPR.live or through our Android or iOS apps, thank you for tuning in. For those listening and watching from all over the social media sphere, hey, how you doing? So glad you could come through. It is Monday, which means it is Mutual Aid Monday. And we've got a couple. We have a family that suffered a fire. If you would like to donate, their goal is $800. They have raised $245 thus far. You can reach them on cashApp at Meka, M-E-K-A, PEDS, PEDSNP, or you can visit their GoFundMe. If you are in the Tazisms or Sound of Coffee Discord, you can click the link there. If you're watching through social media, everywhere but TikTok, unfortunately, you can go to the description of this broadcast and find the GoFundMe. We do also have a request from a single parent that is in need of bill assistance. Their goal is $250. You can cash app them at Mahogany Wave 82. That is Mahogany Wave 82. And featured today, in case you are in need of employment, is coolworks.com. Coolworks.com. Coolworks features seasonal and year-round jobs in hospitality, outdoor recreation, guiding, administration, education, conservation, nonprofit, and more, all in amazing places. For many job seekers, things like location, season, and housing availability are the biggest deciding factors. Once again, that is coolworks.com. Now, hopefully you all had a bit of an enjoyable weekend. Hope you got out, touch grass, touch one another, touch something. I don't know. But I hope you got it together. Let's get all caught up in all things news, things that have been going on for a little minute now and things that may be new. Now, if you recall, there was a mass shooting at Appalachia High School. And yes, there was a more recent shooting this past weekend. I am aware. But the Appalachia High School shooter, Colt Gray, has pleaded guilty. The 16-year-old Colt Gray is changing his plea to guilty on 55 counts stemming from the deadly September 2024 school shooting. Victims' families and survivors delivered emotional statements in court urging the judge to hand down a sentence of life without parole. A non-negotiated plea leaves the final sentencing decision entirely to the Barrow County judge, who can issue life with or without parole. Now, that is his plea. Do not forget that his father has also been charged. Now, Democratic lawmaker has blasted idiot Trump. I'm finding it. Democratic lawmaker blasts idiot Trump after demanding she get the hell out of our country at correspondence dinner tirade. When I tell you it was the most unhinged White House correspondence dinner I've ever witnessed, and there was a point in time where there used to be comedians there. Mhm. Representative Ilhan Omar fired back at President Idiot Box, scathing meltdown against multiple Democrats during Friday night's rescheduled White House correspondence dinner, where he demanded she get the hell out of our country. Whose country? You ain't supposed to be here. You're here by default, Drumpf. Your family got expatriated. That's the only reason why y'all here. None of y'all want to be here. You keep talking about your good genes because they're German. You keep copies of Mein Kampf. Everybody you truly, truly want to be attached to has an attachment to Nazism. Like, bruh, what? But isn't it funny that white people specifically will turn into the very thing that once oppressed them? Mm-hmm. A video has surfaced recently of Ilhan giving a speech referring to World War II as World War XI. And they asked her about that, and she thought she got it right. But I'm not surprised because she's a low IQ person. Mm-hmm. King of projection. And she's also a very dishonest person. Trump, do you know you's a boy? Trump said, and she ought to get the hell out of our country. She shouldn't be here. She shouldn't be in our country. No, you shouldn't be in our beautifully diverse country. How about that? The clip the president is referring to is a 2025 verbal gaffe by Omar at a news conference where she misread World War II as World War XI. The clip quickly resurfaced and went viral among conservatives who left out the context of her correcting herself. Of course. Of course. This is why I said stop saying that these people have been manipulated, that they've been lied to. They do the lying. First of all, we know Trump is not researching anything. It has been confirmed over and over and over again that Trump looks to Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, and the internet for his talking points, for what he puts forth as executive orders, for the legislation that he wants to put through. He is the ultimate doom scroller. When y'all sit out there and tell other people to touch grass, go tell your president to do the same. And I don't make excuses for anybody, but I'm going to be honest. Have I been put in situations where live there's been information, there's been notes, there's been copy that is put together that I did not put together and I have to read? Yes, handwritten, digitally, whatever. Have I messed up on reading it? Absolutely. I have a learning through literacy series where I'm reading live on air. The amount of times over the years that I've had to pause and correct myself, it's called being human. So, yeah. The president also amplified unfounded right-wing claims that Omar married her brother to enter the U.S. from Somalia, telling the audience the two are very much in love. So is it that she married a relative to get into the country or because they were in love? But once again, what did I tell you all? He does. Hey, Nana J. Nana J. He does look to the internet for what to talk about. But so does every other grifter. There's a difference between having social commentary and altering everything about yourself, including your delivery, in order to make $1. Now, we know today, some of you know, some of you don't know, that I am going to start putting out some videos, satire as Candace Owens, okay? A satirical take on Candace Owens for GCPR and the Villains Guild's Janky Hall of Fame Awards. I know in all reality, if I were to make a shift and change my whole persona, okay, change my whole persona and act like Candace Owens and be the black face of conservative woman faces, I would never have to worry about paying a bill ever again in life. There's a difference between me coming on, giving you the news, tying it into the history, and giving you some commentary behind it. And it's completely different for me to sit and watch all of what comes through and goes, well, I see they got this conspiracy theory. They believe that it's true. So if I come on, since I've established credibility and I say that it is, and I pretend like I got the inside scoop, I could get X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's a telltale sign. Willing to go home, but doing good. How are you? Yeah. So she also calls her brother husband number one, Trump added. Again, this goes back to me saying that the United States is far too comfortable with gossip culture, because every time somebody feels like they have a gotcha moment, regardless of the size of the person's audience, because all of us have an audience. Some of us have a small audience, some of us have a big audience, some of us have a quote unquote mid-sized audience, but we all have an audience. We're born with an audience. Okay. You're lying to yourself if you don't see that, yeah, you have an audience. Okay. But isn't it amazing that every time somebody wants to talk crap about somebody, they act as if they're around that person 24/7, that they are privy to every conversation that this person has had, every thought that this person had. Because I can't tell you over the years how many times somebody has tried to tell me how I felt, why I did this, what I was thinking. And I'm like, I never shared any of that with anybody. Where are you getting this from? People are like, oh yeah, she does this at home. Do I? Because how would you know what this woman refers to her husband as? Because I looked, I check every time they bring up Ilhan Omar's name, and the fact that she wants to continue to be a public servant. And the only reason we know her name is because other people, notably staunch conservatives, neo-conservatives, Christian nationalists, tyrannical evangelicals keep bringing this woman up, but she still wants to fight the good fight for you and me. She still wants to serve the public with all that she gets. Huh? First of all, that deserves a round of applause right there. But I go back every time they bring her up and I look and I search. She doesn't talk about her family. Not like that. Because that's not what she's paid to do. That's not what she signed up to do. She signed up to work for you and me. I want y'all to think, if you were an employer and you had an employee that came in and all they talked about was they home, they husband, my man, my woman, my person, you would not want to keep them long. As a coworker, I want you to think how annoying that would be to work with somebody that can't get the work done, putting more work on your lap because they want to sit around and talk about their relationship, what they got going on at home. That's not what she's doing. We don't know if there's a pet name, Ilhan Omar. We don't know if she has a pet name for her husband, if her husband got a pet name for her. We don't know nothing. And quite honestly, that's how I like my politicians. That's how I like my politicians. Y'all complain about the state of where we are, but you have politicians pretending to be country bumpkins. The same folks y'all make fun of online going, oh, they ain't smart. You go, oh, they sound so sweet. They sound like my grandpappy. Yeah, I'm going to vote them in. Somebody is related to a veteran. Oh, yeah, my great-grandfather 3 times removed was a vet. Oh, yeah, let's vote them in. Oh, yeah, I served in the military. Vote them in. Yeah, I was a cop for 67 years. Don't pay attention to all those complaints about me. Yeah, let's vote them in. This is what you're doing. You have people plastering their families all over campaign material. For what? Since when did having a family of your own, a nuclear family of your own, extending your greater family, make you qualify for any job? But everybody keeps saying that they just know any and everything, all the ins and outs of Ilhan Omar's life. But when we talk about what's public knowledge, what has been done publicly, regarding Trump. You can't prove that. That's fake news. That's AI. Why do you believe that? Why are y'all believing that an immigrant married her immigrant brother in order to get citizenship? But then she married her brother because she's so in love with him. And she decided, here's the kicker. She decided this supposed to be a secret. This supposed to be the secret. But I'm going to run for office. I'm going to get into politics, one of the most intrusive career fields a person can have in the United States. And here's the thing. These are the same people that have been pushing to marry cousins. These are the same people that have been pushing to marry minors. These are the same people that still wanted on the books the ability to marry a sibling. These are the same people who engage regularly in incestuous cults. It's okay when they do it. It's the problem when I do it. See, things are only disgusting. Things are only lowbrow. Things are only, so uncouth when a non-white, non-racist person is doing it. But you won't do anything about it. You'll have a good cackle because Ilhan doesn't look like you. Ilhan doesn't speak like you. Ilhan has a conscience, and most of y'all don't. Now, speaking of not having a conscience and just doing things for the sake of attention and being in the history books, now we know Elon Musk has lived worse than some of the poorest people in this country, while on paper having more money than virtually anybody on the planet. Okay? Now, most billionaires fly under the radar, literally and proverbially. Okay? They pretty much don't like for you to know who they are. They don't want you to be able to recognize them on sight, because a lot of them walk around just like you and me. They like being able to, believe it or not, go into grocery stores, go to concerts, do all the things. There are some that are like, hey, yeah, I got this money so I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. And they don't want to be secluded away from humanity. Some. But Elon Musk likes plastering himself all over the place because he needs an ego boost. Well, we know for a period of time, he was the first trillionaire. It is a very short period of time. But according to, and yes, this is a real website, bazinga.com. Nope, not my website. But you can go to benzinga.com yourself. Musk's net worth is down by more than $600 billion as SpaceX Tesla woes mount. Here's the thing. Elon Musk is the most unethical of the unethical billionaires, okay? And he's very, very vocal, very boisterous about it. He's not good at this. He exudes new money. He exudes it. He needs you to know that he has the money. Like, he needs all of it, okay? Old money lets you know. You don't, first of all, you don't let anybody know that you got money. You live comfortably within your means. And when you know what luxury items are, you have nothing to prove. You could walk into somebody's house right now and not know that it's brimming with luxury items. You may be able to tell by the quality if you hold it, if you sit down on it or you touch, but other than that, you wouldn't know any better. But I digress. And keep in mind, Elon Musk all this time has been wealthy on paper. He lived in a tent on top of one factory. He slept on the factory floor of another. Yeah. As long as it's not Sheldon Cooper, New South, we're okay. True. So Elon Musk's net worth continued falling last week as Tesla and SpaceX stocks plunged. Yeah, all his money is tied to dividends. Again, let me remind you all of the story that he told unprovoked. Okay, unprovoked, because this goes to show you how stingy his father was. And things like that, because a lot of these wealthy people are afraid of being poor, and to them, being poor is dropping down to the thousands. I want you to take that in, and I want you to think about it. Okay. But like his father said egregious things about his mother. It was basically to avoid paying child support. Like, oh yeah, I'll take the kids, but I'm not going to treat them well. But Elon Musk, on paper, yeah, wealthy. In reality, no, because he told us about how when Trump invited him to the White House to stay over, much to Melanoma not wanting him there. Melanoma wasn't even officially living at the White House full time at the time. And he sat there and was so giddy and so impressed that he could have a whole tub of Haagen-Dazs ice cream to himself. When I tell you all, there's very few, if any, degrees of separation between the super poor and the super rich. I'm not joking. You all think that more money means less abuse. More money means more access. Yeah, for adults. For the adults that are in control of the money. This is why wealthy people are willing to kill one another off. And it's not so much for the money, it's for the control. To have control over their lives and to finally be able to have some things that they want. You would understand how sad it was if Elon was poor, especially if he was a child. But I want you to think about a grown man who is an employer and a parent taking to social media to brag about the fact that his friend allowed him to have not one, but 2 containers of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Like, let that sink in. I'm not saying you can't be impressed by your friends and family and the things that they may have and the things that they share with you. But you're a billionaire. And for a short period of time, you were a trillionaire and you were impressed. Not so much by the White House and the history thereof, but that Trump allowed you to go into the kitchen and get whatever you wanted, and that you could have 2 containers of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. May that life never find me. The ice cream you get in the grocery store for $5.99. Yep. Now, as a kid, well, as a teenager, like there were certain things that my mom and my dad had as their special treats. And as I got older, I realized it wasn't about the price, that they were like, no, 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 this is for mom, this is for dad, you don't touch. It wasn't about the price. It was just being parents, having to be adults. It was something that was for them, something that was a part of their self-care. And every so often, my mom she alternated between Dove bars, Haagen-Dazs, and the strawberry cheesecake crunch bars. Now, as a child that wasn't paying for nothing, okay, it was just looking at things, and I just decided in my head what was expensive and what wasn't. Oh, I thought my parents was paying a grip for my mom's snacks and like the little specialty nuts that my dad would get, okay? But again, child, not spending any money on things he has never been able to enjoy. Exactly, Nana J. And I think too many people forget that Elon Musk is a billionaire that's been able to get child support reduced. There's a difference between liquid assets and like a lot of people are thinking about how they are. You get paid. It goes into whatever account or accounts. You may have automatic withdrawals for bills, whatever. Yeah, that's not how a lot of these wealthy people are being paid. They have stocks and bonds that, the dividends may be removed, part of them rolled over into other investments, and then they have so much, and then that's paid to them as if they're an employee of themselves through a trust fund, through a shell corporation, all of these different things. And it's not the entirety of their money. A lot of these people are dirt poor. A lot of the wealthy, the reason why they're such sticklers when it comes to you getting the social services that you need, because a lot of these rich white people are also on social services. This is why they go so hard on trying to convince you that you don't need them, trying to shame you out of them, putting a stigma on it for society, because they're always looking for free money, because again, they're afraid of not having money. So they go to great lengths to never spend their own money. There are wealthy people right now that have all of their money tied up in trust that it looks like on paper that they're poor. Ooh, mom sent me to 7-Eleven on a bike for Haagen-Dazs. We lived in Vegas, so I had to pedal fast. I bet. Oh my goodness. Like my mom loved banana splits. I am allergic to bananas, like to the point where I can't really touch them. She would send me, because it was like about maybe a block away from our house as teenagers. Okay. But she liked her banana split in a traditional way with a few add-ons. I was the only one that could get it right. Before you go, well, you have brothers, it's probably weaponized incompetence. No. I spent more time with my mother than my brothers, and a lot more time going to stores and stuff like that with my mother than my brothers, because the opposite, my brothers with my dad, their things, it's better for them to handle it because they know from being around when he's ordered stuff, when he's gotten stuff, when they've talked about stuff. That's all it was. So I would go and get it, and they would just put it in the extra box. But baby, let me tell you, there were a couple heat waves that came through, and I wanted a brownie sundae, and she's like, "I'll get you a brownie sundae if you walk around and get this for me." Baby, let me tell you, I ain't never moved so quick in my life. I never moved so quick in my life. Hey, TJ. But Bloomberg data show that his net worth has plunged from a peak $1.32 trillion in June to $719 billion now, a drop of about $601 billion over that period. This decline alone exceeds the combined net worths of Larry Page and Sergey Brin. SpaceX stock has plunged from a record high of $225 to a low of $110. As a result, the market capitalization has plunged from about $3 trillion to $1.53 trillion. This decline aligns with performance of most recent IPOs, including companies like Circle Internet Group, Klarna, Bullish, and Gemini. Also, quick side note, you may think that I'm being nitpicky, but I need you all to remember that there are members of society, people who live amongst us, that are hard of hearing. They rely on captions. There are also people who are visually impaired. So how you say things, whether it's picked up by voice to text, or if somebody is completely reliant on listening to you, I need you all to remember something that more than likely you were taught in primary school that you have forgotten. When reading numbers, especially when it comes to money, a lot of you will go, "Oh, it's $101." You do realize that "and" is supposed to denote a decimal point. So you can mess somebody up because they will think it's $100.01. Catch what I'm putting down? May seem a little nitpicky, but it means the world. We are very, very, very made to feel comfortable when you can hear clearly and fully, and when you can see clearly and fully. But we do have to be mindful that there are those that cannot. So what you say and how you say it is very important. And to avoid confusion, let's be clear. We have language for a reason, and we're taught language for a reason, for proper communication between one another. We cannot keep tweaking things to make our individual selves or our friend groups feel well. When we're talking to the general public, we must be mindful of it. Okay? Just keep in mind, when reading numbers, when you say "and," technically that denotes a decimal point. And I was reminded of that because I was watching someone's video and they were talking, and I was looking at the captions. And what the captions were saying and what the person was meaning, two different things. And before you go, "Taz, how do you know?" Because I asked. Y'all know I'm the queen of I will ask for clarification. And there's hey, Jimmy, There's nothing wrong with asking for clarification. Absolutely not. It is better to ask for clarification than run off of an assumption. And I'm going to tell y'all right here, right now, ask me. And baby, if I don't have a clear answer for you, I will find one. And if you've been around here for a while, you know we will shut everything down and we will find an answer together. But do not do the assuming. It's better to be asking all them questions. Some of y'all will get that, some of y'all won't. Okay, wait a second. Oh, okay. All right. We are at the top of the hour. Once again, it is Mutual Aid Monday here at the Taz Effect, daily news in a way that you did not know you can use. We do have two specific requests today. One is for assistance in rebuilding after a fire. Their goal is $800. They have raised $245 thus far. You can cash app them at MEKAPEDSNP, I believe. If you are in the Tazisms or Sound of Coffee Discord, you can also find the link in Mutual Aid for their GoFundMe. And there is a request for a single parent with assistance with bills. Their goal is $250. You can reach them on Cash App at Mahogany Wave 82. That again is Mahogany Wave 82. If you are in need of employment, you can visit coolworks.com. That is coolworks.com. Coolworks features seasoned and year-round jobs in hospitality, outdoor recreation, guiding, administration, education, conservation, nonprofits, and more, all in amazing places. For many job seekers, things like location, season, and housing availability are the biggest deciding factors. That again is coolworks.com. Coolworks.com. Now, we know there is a politician that works on Capitol Hill that decided to change his whole persona to make sure that he could stay in power, that he would continue to be reelected, because for some reason people like a quote unquote stereotypical country bumpkin that reminds them of their uncle that's a little slow, or their papa that was just a simple man. And who is that? A Kennedy that's not a Kennedy. Republican senator breaks ranks with Trump over controversial nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. A prominent GOP senator is splitting with Donald Trump over his plans for a controversial nuclear agreement with Saudi Arabia. The latest sign that the White House's Middle East policy is dividing the Republican Party. The Republican Party has never been unified. If you think I'm joking, I did a whole breakdown of the various factions that have made up the GOP since its inception. You can go to Linktree /Cincitaz, CINCITAZ, to look at the history of, the various factions of the GOP. The deal signed by Energy Secretary Chris Wright is designed to streamline the development of a civilian nuclear program for Saudi Arabia, which does not currently possess nuclear weapons and is considered one of the U.S.'s main strategic allies in the region. Just hours later, Trump himself confirmed that the normalization of ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia would be a factor on which the deal was contingent. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. An ally today is an enemy tomorrow. Because the way the United States treats the Middle East is ridiculous. If it's okay for Saudi Arabia to have nuclear weapons, do you know what the rest of the Middle East is going to say? Why can't we have them? And they would be valid in asking that question. And constantly trying to throw Israel into the mix of any negotiations that the United States has with anything. How are you going to scream at those of us rightfully so, within our constitutional rights, critiquing and criticizing this current regime or any other administration that comes through. But you're screaming patriotism towards us. Is your patriotism towards the United States or towards Israel? Now, a key Republican senator who has previously stopped from going as far as publicly condemning the president's Middle East strategy is doing just that. Senator John Kennedy appeared Sunday on CBS's Face the Nation, where he questioned the idea of providing the technology to another Gulf state at the same time that the U.S. was trying to permanently shut down Iran's nuclear program. I don't like agreeing with him. I really don't, because I don't like him at all. He's full of the shiznai. Okay, he is. When I worked at the hospital, there are times we would get an FOS notification. Just use your smarticle particles. You'll figure out what FOS stands for. Full of. Asked directly whether he was comfortable with the Saudi deal as it had been presented, Kennedy replied, "Nope." Because I want you to think about something. Okay, let's think of this like children. Say you're babysitting. Okay, whether you have children of your own in the mix, it could be your nieces, nephews, godchildren, family, friends, or just willy-nilly babysit. Okay, you tell all the kids you can get an extra snack if you pick up after yourself to the best of your ability throughout the 3 hours you'll be here with me. And they're like, okay, bet. Then you decide, because you get a wild hair up your butt, or your bias, prejudice, whatever, because y'all don't seem to cut that off when it comes to kids or elderly or disabled or anything like that. One kid, you decide you don't like them. Maybe because you figured out who their parents were, you don't like how they're dressed, you don't like how their hair look, you don't like their complexion, whatever it is. You decide you don't like them. And you're like, you know what? No matter what you do or don't do, you're not getting a snack. I feel like you haven't been cleaning up. And they're like, I have been cleaning up. I just had 2 toys. So no, I'm not going to put 5 toys away. Well, you didn't pick up the coloring books. I didn't have a coloring book. And you just decided they're not going to get a snack. But then you see 4 kids over on the other side. Okay? You cool with their parents. Their parents done slid you a little tip. Everything. They ain't picked up nothing. But you like, you know what? Not only do you get an extra snack, you get to pick your snack. You want me to order you a snack? How long do you think that's going to last? Because eventually they get older. What's poppin', twin? They get older. They get wiser. You get some no contact or some reporting going. It's the same thing. Again, we have not been the best in the Middle East. And we need to learn, especially from Iran. They, just like Black folks around the globe, have to watch the colonizers, the settlers, the Europeans, the Anglo-Saxons, if you will, and study them in more detail than they study and know themselves. Iran was like, yeah, U.S., we've been watching you. We know your tactics. You think other nations haven't been doing the same thing? Especially with Trump in office. They know, suck up to him, kiss up to him, you will get what you want. A friend today is a foe tomorrow. The United States has not really been able to sustain real friendships and partnerships with anybody. We can't even do quid pro quo properly. We essentially got to bribe everybody. Nobody wants to sit at the table with us. Our table is rickety. It's a little moldy. We don't serve the best food to people. Okay? We convince people that it's one big old party and it's free before 11. Everybody getting here at 8:15, and we trying to charge them $50 to get in plus $100 for parking. And then we don't want to let them sit at the table. We done made them pay to get in to try to serve the table. Baby, listen. Maybe someday, but not right now, added the senator. We're bombing a country to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon, but we're signing a deal with another country. I know it's a commercial agreement, but that would perceive that the world perceives as possibly someday leading to a nuclear weapon, because it would. It would. It would be like me going to Dunkin' Donuts and going, hey, y'all, hey, would y'all give me a little money to open up my own bakery? And they're like, cool, cool, cool. We're going to sign this agreement. You can open your bakery, but you can't make anything that we make. So no donuts, no croissants, no scent, like all that stuff. It's a slippery slope before I find a way to start making it, because I can say, well, I'm on the part of town that y'all were not on, and the people are demanding, supply and demand. I got to give them this. Or, oh, I just had a little bit left over of these ingredients and, couldn't let them go to waste. Or, like in this day and age, like we found out about the ghost kitchens, just sell my donuts and everything else on DoorDash and Uber Eats under a different name. What's going to stop if you allow all the technology and all the ingredients for the nuclear weapon to go into Saudi Arabia's kitchen? You really think they're going to be like, no, we're not. No, I mean, you always threatening to blow up the Middle East and things. We not. Why would we have a weapon in our back pocket as a just in case? So yeah, no. He went on to say the world was operating on a hair trigger with the fear of nuclear proliferation and geopolitical instability, leading more countries to consider building up their own nuclear stockpiles, a trend he said was a mistake and one that the U.S. should work to counteract. It's just not good timing, said Kennedy, who added, I don't think it's going to happen anyway. He went on to note that Trump's precondition of normalization of diplomatic ties between the Saudi government and Israel would be a bridge too far for the U.S. Gulf's allies. Despite Doofenstumm's, that's Trump, and his administration's persistent efforts to promote the Abraham Accords and softening of ties, the Saudi government has remained adamant that it will only normalize ties with Israel on the condition of the establishment of a free and sovereign Palestinian state. Israel is adamantly opposed to this. Here's the thing. Imani and the rest, Amanda Seals, Jill Stein, all of y'all that were protesting private citizen Kamala Harris, all of y'all that said don't vote for Kamala Harris, don't vote for Jasmine Crockett. Okay, it's always a black woman or a black candidate that people are told not to vote for. But I digress, because we got to say Israel. We got to say Palestine. We got to say the genocide, ignoring all the other genocides, ignoring the genocide that's taking place here. The genocide that's taking place by the hands of civilians and covered up by the government here, huh? What? Too much? We'll talk about that tomorrow. But where are the protests for an administration that's doing any and everything for Israel and ignoring Palestine? Where is the smoke for candidates that are aligning with this mess? I thought that was I thought that was a bridge too far for you. I thought it was all about we got to save the people. We got to stop the genocide. Is the stopping in the galaxy with us? Is the stopping in the solar system with us? Is the stopping on the planet with us? Is the stopping in the country with us? It's almost as if y'all don't care about anybody. You like being contrarian. You understand how misogynoir is paying your bills, paying for vacations, and getting you on TV and into publications because it's all you care about. And your ability to get brand deals off of it because you understand the profitability of anti-Blackness. You also understand the profitability of cosplaying, the caricature of Blackness. Because Code Pink, why aren't you paying people to go bust up Trump events? Why didn't you pay people, pay for their tickets to go interrupt the White House Correspondents' Dinner redo? Code Pink, you have media credentials. Why aren't you in the White House briefing room shaking it up and asking why they're aligning themselves with Israel? Anti-Israel content creators that claim that they're standing on the right side of history, that they're not right wing. Where is your criticism of this? Accountability Archive, where'd you go? Y'all wanted to chronicle everybody that wasn't regurgitating the script that you were regurgitating. Where you at? Where are you at? And all of y'all that subscribe to, reposted, do edit, and followed these mofos, why are you quiet now? Who have you given that energy to? Whose content are you now boosting up? Who are you bringing to the, because you platform these people. So who are you now going to platform to correct your mistake? No one, because you still believe in what they said. You still believe that proximity to them is going to get you a pat on the back. You still believe that proximity to them is going to get you some sort of clout, some sort of notoriety. All right. As I told you before, there was another shooting over the weekend. Well, 15-year-old boy arrested, second suspect sought in Seattle shooting that left 3 people deceased. Authorities on July 27th continued to search for a second suspect in the shooting at a Seattle food festival after detaining a 15-year-old boy who they allege opened fire in the incident that left 3 people deceased and at least 4 injured. The gunfire erupted the evening of July 26th, the final night of the Bite of Seattle Food Festival at the Seattle Center, an outdoor park home to the Space Needle. The shot sent the large crowd of families and vendors into a frenzy as people ran for cover. In total, 7 people were struck by gunfire, and possibly an 8th person was hit as a barrage of bullets flew. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson said during a July 27th late morning press conference, a 19-year-old man, a 44-year-old man, and a 56-year-old woman died in the shooting, Wilson said, though she did not confirm their identities. First of all, can we stop that? I need y'all to stop withholding your sympathy until you know somebody's name, age, life story, everything else. Because I promise you, if it were a family member of mine, I wouldn't let their names be released. Because my family will not be tormented till the end of time. Because you're going to politicize the death. Stop being weird. The men died at the scene of the shooting, and the woman died after being transported to a hospital. The wounded included a 2-year-old boy who authorities said was listed in satisfactory condition. My heart is with the victims of last night's tragedies, Wilson said. The terror and trauma of gun violence reaches far beyond the victims struck by bullets. As of midday on July 27th, medical staff had discharged 3 adults taken to hospitals, said Susan Gregg, a spokesperson for the University of Washington School of Medicine, including a 23-year-old man and a 39-year-old woman from Harborview Medical Center. At UW Medical Center Montlake, medical staff discharged a 27-year-old man. A 40-year-old woman with minor injuries was treated at the scene, but she wasn't transported to a hospital. Wilson said the Seattle police had detained the 15-year-old boy in connection to the shootings on firearm and assault charges after the teenager allegedly fired into the crowd outside the Seattle Center Armory. The teen is set to appear in court the afternoon of July 27th for his first appearance. Police said he surrendered himself to authorities. Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes, who also addressed reporters, said officials still believe a second shooting suspect fled from the area and remains at large. However, he also said it's possible one of the victims who died July 26 was one of the suspects, but that remained under investigation. We need to figure out who that other person is, Barnes said, urging anyone who witnessed the shooting to contact police. I don't know if it was gang activity, but certainly group activity, the chief said when asked if officials had determined the motive of the shooting. Authorities confirmed that they recovered two firearms from the scene and said they believe the incident stemmed from a shootout. Here's the thing. I don't know if y'all know this or not. Every time y'all come out and preemptively give an excuse, and because everybody is so quick to want to blame black and brown communities, you go, oh yeah, this is gang violence. You do realize this is part of the reason why there's an uptick. No different than when the whole story came out about Halloween candy, and then there was an uptick of people being very egregious with Halloween candy for shits and giggles, because there are people who that is what they dream about all day, every day, taking a life. Let's not forget when the narrative regarding school shootings was, oh, they were being bullied, and how many people copied that. Hate has no originality. Okay, we got another update. I cannot wait to get to a point where I can go back to having a daily segment with weird news included, because we don't have so many tragedies. Idaho college killer Brian Kohlberger claims he was duped into pleading guilty and now wants a trial. My brother in Christ, you know what? Let's just get into it. Brian Kohlberger, the 31-year-old who pleaded guilty to murdering 4 University of Idaho students, said in a statement Monday that he wants to abandon his confession and go to trial, citing concerns he had with the plea deal process. We covered this extensively. We went step by step through all of his confessions. If you think I'm joking, you can walk right on over to YouTube at TazJ77. How does he, you know what? He's white. He may have ran out of pee, but he's still white and a man. He's got all the audacity. And the way this country is set up, especially right now, he could walk. He could get a trial and walk right out. Like that's the saddest part. That is the saddest part. The amount of times a white-bodied individual, especially a white-bodied male-presenting individual, can tell you, "Yep, I smashed her in the head with a hammer. Yeah, I did it on purpose. Yeah, I do it again." Well, thank you, Judge. I'm glad you don't want to ruin my life. Yes, because I got so much potential to kill again. Kohlberger, a former criminology student convicted of murdering the 4 students in their home in 2022, said he was innocent and that the plea deal hinged on false promises and blatant disinformation in a statement to the New York Times. The newspaper reported that Kohlberger claimed he was misled into confessing to the murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan, Ethan Chapin, and Zana Kernodle, but did not elaborate further. Yeah, because I feel like he was going to play the system all the way around from the get-go. Over a year later, It is self-evident that in State v. Kohlberger, justice was not served. Kohlberger wrote, unanswered questions seem to multiply with each piece of discovery unsealed, and the public demands the truth. You mean you answering the damn questions? The questions that were left unanswered were noted in the victim impact statements. But here's the thing. I need y'all to realize that so many people who take lives, they do it for notoriety, number one, because in this country, we seem to put the whole focus on the abusers, the victimizers, the criminals. We can remember their names, their faces, all of these things. They'll get fan clubs, they'll get documentary series, all of the things. When they die, it'll be breaking news. So they will try to elongate their 15 minutes in the spotlight. And many of them get off on re-traumatizing the victims, the public, you name it. My actual innocence is my truth, and the plea hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation must be withdrawn. What false promises? They promised not to kill your ass. And what was the disinformation? You didn't answer many questions. You just said, I did it. Kohlberger did not explain what specific concerns he had with the plea deal, though he mentioned evidence, the probable cause affidavit, and a broken plea. What broken plea? But again, why am I breaking my silence? Because you need attention and people forgot about you. You're probably watching social media and watching TV and ain't nobody talking about you anymore. You didn't do this for shits and giggles. You did this for people to continuously talk about you. You thought that you were going to be Manson infamous. Why am I breaking my silence? Kohlberger told the Times by phone on Sunday. A lot went wrong in those plea discussions. I really do want to be heard. You had quite a bit of time to discuss this. You could have said no. You chose not to. And journalists, stop talking to him. Stop talking to him. The only people who should be talking to him are attorneys. Whatever attorney he has, one that he's paid for, a public defender, and the district attorney's office. Journalists, stop talking to him. Because we're going to keep going through this until you stop talking to him. Because we're seeing this resurgence with Ghislaine Maxwell. She was quiet in serving her sentence. But now she's like, people want to talk to me. Yeah, I'm going to capitalize off of this. I'm going to sprinkle this and insinuate this and insinuate this. It takes away from the justice. I do not know why you all have an unhealthy attachment to capitulating to the worst of the worst in society. I do not know why you all will give more attention and effort into the victimizers, the abusers, the criminal element of this country, especially if they are white body, but not the victims. If you feel that something went wrong in this trial, if you feel that there's more information that needs to get out, go talk to the victims' families. Go talk to the prosecutors. Go talk to the judge. Go talk to potential witnesses. And before you go, but they can't, he can't profit off of it. I need y'all to realize that everybody's profit margin isn't coins. Some people are seeking the profit of clout, notoriety, infamy. He declined to discuss specific evidence in a phone interview with the outlet. Still, he said that the intention is for all of those questions to be investigated and answered appropriately in a trial setting. If you felt that you were innocent and there were still questions from first of all, the questions from the public have to do with you. You going to answer them? Because I feel like we're going to keep going round and round. Kohlberger is currently serving 4 consecutive life sentences for the murders of Mogan, Goncalves, Chapin, and Kernodle, which he confessed to in July 2025, just weeks before a trial was set to take place. Following the news of, first of all, who started a fan club for him? Because I feel like somebody did that, which put a battery in his back. Following the news of Kohlberger's petition, Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador said in a statement, "My heart goes out to the families of Madison, Kaylee, Zaina, and Ethan, who have already endured unimaginable loss and now must face today's deeply painful news. My office stands ready to do whatever is necessary to ensure justice is fully carried out," Labrador added. As part of the plea deal, the death penalty was taken off the table in exchange for Kohlberger's admission. He also waived his right to an appeal or the chance of parole in accepting the deal. Yeah, that's the thing. Where was he misled? If you're saying you're innocent, why would you agree to this? Kohlberger's petition to open the case is not an appeal and therefore does not violate the terms of the plea deal. The 4 University of Idaho students were murdered inside their off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho on November 13, 2022. The tragedy rocked the town, which had not experienced a homicide in 7 years and captivated the nation. Kohlberger was arrested weeks after the murders in late December. Law enforcement officials had linked Kohlberger to the murders through DNA evidence from a knife sheath found at the scene of the murders, as well as surveillance footage of a car that matched Kohlberger's in the area at the time of the murders and cell phone tower data. At his arraignment, Kohlberger had refused to enter a plea, leading the judge to enter a not guilty plea for him. Just weeks before the trial, he entered an unexpected guilty plea. However, Kohlberger never offered a motive for the killing, which left the families with no answer as to why their children were killed. Exactly, like I said, the questions that were left are questions that only he can answer. So him going, well, the public has questions, so I need a trial. He has been playing games since the start. Because I'm sorry, if I'm guilty, especially of such a heinous crime, I'm singing it, I'm screaming it from the rafters, honey. I am screaming it from the rafters. Like I'm, but it must be nice to be white and male. And we are 30 minutes past the hour. Again, it is Mutual Aid Monday here on the Taz Effect. And today we have 2 requests for mutual aid. One is for rebuilding after a fire. Their goal is $800. They have raised $245 thus far on Cash App. You can reach them at, hold on. I don't know why I'm having such a hard, actually, I do know why I'm having such a hard time seeing today. Wait a second. My apologies. I keep forgetting. I got it over here. mekapedsnp. If you are in the Taz Effect or Sound of Coffee Discord, you can view the link for their GoFundMe, or if you are viewing and listening on Facebook, Twitch, Substack, or YouTube, you can go to the description of this episode and find it there. There's also a request for assistance with bills from a single parent household. Their goal is $250. You can reach them on Cash App at Mahogany Wave 82. That again is Mahogany Wave 82. Also, if you were looking for employment, you can go to coolworks.com. Once again, that is coolworks.com. Coolworks features seasonal and year-round jobs in hospitality, outdoor recreation, guiding, administration, education, conservation, nonprofits, and more, all in amazing places. For many job seekers, things like location, season, and housing availability are the biggest deciding factors. That again can be found at coolworks.com. Coolworks.com. Okay, I know everybody keeps telling y'all, don't be fat, eat healthy, and blah, 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 blah. And then every time you turn around, all the healthy foods are either priced out of your budget or seem to be trying to kill you or flush out your system from everything. Okay. So here we go. Coming from The Guardian. Not standard for Taylor Farms to ask White House to delay cyclospore recall, ex-FBA head says. Former Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb said on Sunday that it was not standard operations procedure for Taylor Farms to ask the White House to intervene as the company prepared to announce a recall tied to a huge cyclospore outbreak. First of all, I want y'all to take into account that y'all were willing to joke your way into another potential COVID situation. Y'all were like, oh, Taco Bell, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory. Y'all weren't going to look into if anybody else was using Taylor Farms product. You weren't even looking into where it was coming from. Y'all literally sat there and act like Taco Bell had a monopoly on one particular distributor of lettuce, and that was it. You didn't even want to hold the distributor responsible. Y'all are ridiculous. Appearing on CBS's Face the Nation, Gottlieb was asked about a report from the Wall Street Journal that Taylor Farms contacted the White House seeking to delay a recall announcement while federal investigators were preparing to publicly link the company to the multi-state outbreak. It was not standard operating procedure, Gottlieb said, and it wasn't standard operating procedure when I was at FDA. I dealt with outbreaks in romaine lettuce and spinach as well, E. coli in spinach and romaine lettuce. I never heard from the White House on those things other than to have discussions to inform them of what we were doing so that they were properly briefed and could respond to the questions that we were getting, Gottlieb said. So it was unusual. According to the Journal, representatives for Taylor Farms contacted the White House requesting more time before the government publicly linked the company to the outbreak. The report said the White House asked FDA officials to join the call, during which Taylor Farms argued that federal investigators lacked positive laboratory evidence connecting its products to the outbreak and expressed concerns that the government was overstating the company's responsibility. Here's the thing. It is not standard practice for a proper administration that believes in checks and balances and allows checks and balances to go the way that they're supposed to go. They allow that flow to happen. The company sought the meeting after executives believed that they had not received sufficient clarity from the FDA about the evidence supporting the potential recall and its scope, according to a person familiar with the matter cited by the Journal. The recall associated with the cyclospora outbreak has been fraught with confusing messaging. The iceberg lettuce was initially linked to a single supplier, Taylor Farms de Mexico, which issued a voluntary recall. However, the FDA issued an update last week. Lettuce that was not part of the recall had tested positive for cyclospora. But a day later, the FDA deleted the line and said the test was a false positive. The recall still existed, the FDA insisted, despite an enigmatic statement from the supplier. Today, FDA apologized to us. A statement on the Taylor Farms website read, despite no public information about an apology. The farm added that at this moment, FDA has not identified a single positive product test result for cyclospora. A day after that, Taylor Farms clarified that the recall was still in effect and that they were no longer sourcing iceberg lettuce from central Mexico for this growing season. Trump has worked to destroy many of our checks and balances. Have you all forgotten how many train derailments have happened just since last year? How many aviation disasters we've had? How many hiccups we've had in aviation? How many recalls we've had? How many things have happened? There are people who want to increase profits by not having to pay for safety measures. Here is the thing. Greed makes you stupid. Greed makes you not look to tomorrow and only looking at today. Because if you kill off or incredibly disable your workforce, you do that same thing to your consumer base because your workforce is your consumer base. And before somebody goes, nah, I work for company ABC and I never buy anything from ABC. First of all, way to admit that you don't care about job security, that you're working for a place that you don't want to support. So you are actively working to end your own job. Okay, but you are a consumer and you are the producer of products and services. You are a duality. And greedy people always tend to forget that or ignore that. But they love the talking points that y'all run with. Yeah, I work 80 hours a week. To pay for your blah, 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 blah. No, there's not some subsection of society that only works and doesn't spend a dime. And then a subset of society that doesn't work but has all this money to spend. Where's the money coming from? Now we got to cycle back to the do-over, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, okay? And some of y'all think y'all forgot. The White House Correspondents' Dinner originally was April 25th, 2026, on a Saturday. The do-over occurred July 25th, 2026. Now, for people who claim that they got the suspect in custody and it's so guilty and we got all this jam-packed evidence, why did it take so long? You got all the same people. Well, actually, you don't have all the same people there because a lot of people were like, no, I'm not doing it. I ain't going to do it. They were like, do it for the gram. I ain't going to do it. Do it for the gram. I ain't going to do it, including Melanoma. Melanoma was like, nope, because you didn't tell me about this stupid prank that you wanted for this publicity stunt. Because you can see the look on her face. She didn't know nothing. So I'm pretty sure Trump got cussed out real good that one way, okay? 6 times to Sunday. And she's like, I'm Donald. No. My sit-down air will never touch you again for the rest of 2026. Like, absolutely not. But Trump called the award fake at the Correspondents' Dinner. Collins quoted Eleanor Roosevelt. The punch and counterpunch between President Doofendumps and CNN's Caitlin Collins continues. Trump once again insulted the Alabama native and University of Alabama alum during last week's White House Correspondents Association annual dinner at Washington, D.C. Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Yeah, the whole thing was, it's not secure enough. It's not secure enough. So you went from one hotel to the next to have this damn event? Okay, George. Okay, I'm right there with you. Okay. But also, I don't have any sympathy because you wenches went to this correspondence dinner to shake hands and rub elbows with somebody who calls you everything but a child of God, okay? But what your parents named you, but your chosen name. He is everything but respectful to y'all. The president gave the CNN White House correspondent and news talk show host a backhanded compliment after she was named the winner of the 2026 WHCA Award for broadcast coverage of Trump's insult-laden visit by Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky in 2025. Appearing as the guest speaker at the dinner for the first time in his 2 terms as chief executive, Doofendump used her selection to continue his series of criticisms of the Prattville native. It was all about me. It's fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I didn't mind, Trump told the nearly 2,000 journalists attending the dinner. They would have had to mail me my award. Because what kind of sense does it make? You win an award for essentially an expose on Trump. And you go, did y'all see the footage of how many of them? Shake my hand. Shake my hand. You get a picture with Trump. Are you serious? White people in power. White people in power. Even if the power is just perceived. White people get giddy to be around other white people. This is why it's so hard to believe any of you all are anti-racist. He repeated his main criticism of Collins, complaining that she never smiles. Neither does your wife, bitch. He then told her she has a nice position at CNN fake news And that should make her happy. Caitlin, just smile, he urged. Ladies and femme presenting individuals, I hope you accept this challenge. Every time you come across a man that's not smiling, tell him he would look so much better if he smiled more. If he's not smiling while delivering such a serious message, tell him that his message would be better taken if he would smile and wear something a little bit more flattering to his figure. And ask if his girlfriend or if his wife knows what he's doing online. Collins, whose aggressive reporting and interview style has agitated Trump since he returned to the Oval Office, has fired back. In one jab back at Doofendumps on Instagram, she utilized a famous quote attributed by Reader's Digest in 1940 to former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. It says, and I quote, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." In the post, she wrote, and I quote, "The second best part of last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner was receiving an award from my friend and mentor, at Wolf Blitzer. The first was reminding everyone why the First Amendment and asking uncomfortable questions that people in power don't like matters." Friday night's attacks on Collins followed an ongoing trend of Trump aggressively criticizing journalists that press him on issues. Trump has repeatedly lashed out at Collins when she attempts to ask follow up questions or presses for clarity. He has accused her of having hatred in her eyes, never smiling, and being part of a corrupt organization, often shifting from policy questions to personal insults. Because that's what white people do, especially white people who either refuse to deconstruct or pretend to deconstruct. They're easily offended by everything. They don't want to be criticized or critiqued or corrected, but they will lose their ever-loving shit and or feign stupidity when you don't take their critique, when they don't have the wheelhouse to critique anyone. All right, all right, all right. All you Okay. Bank customers who use ATM or debit cards eligible for $1,000 payment and overdraft settlement act by September 14th. You heard that right. Bank customers who use ATM or debit cards eligible for $1,000 payment in overdraft settlement act by September 14th. Bank customers may be eligible for compensation in a class action settlement. Truist Bank users have accused the provider, previously known as SunTrust, of unlawfully charging overdraft fees at ATMs on certain transactions. SunTrust now operates as Truist, Truist Bank, which has branches across 11 states and the District of Columbia. The settlement specifically covers Georgia customers who claimed that Truist did not return the overdraft fees. Plaintiffs said that the fees violated Georgia's usury laws. To be eligible for the settlement, class members must have had at least one SunTrust bank account that remained open until at least June 1st, 2010. Customers must have incurred at least one overdraft of $500 or less from an ATM or debit card transaction between July 12th, 2006 and April 15th, 2014. SunTrust has not admitted to any wrongdoing, but has agreed to pay $240 million to avoid further court action. Under the terms of the settlement, claimants can expect to earn anywhere from $5 to $1,000. class members will be paid based on how much they paid in qualifying overdraft fees. Class action lawsuits offer groups of people or classes a way to band together in court. These suits are often brought by one or a few people who allege a company or other entity has wronged a large group of people. I'm still waiting on the class action suits against this current administration. SunTrust was always a thieving bank next to Wells Fargo. Yeah, most of them are. most of them are. If you missed it, on TikTok at TazJX and on YouTube at TazJ77, we do have an update and yet another picture from Mitch the Glitchy's staff. Okay, not his family, his staff. This, for all this hate and all this adjoining in solidarity to preserve the void that is whiteness. No wonder y'all want to pop out kids and try to raise the kids to feel obligated to come take care of y'all. That's like, well, who's going to take care of you when you're old? Nobody is going to take care of you. I know that much. Like, y'all watch this happen time after time after time again. Y'all keep wanting to do it. But here's another one. Senate Republican McConnell visitor said he's clear-minded. I mean, most apparitions are clear or translucent. But okay. Senator Shelley Moore Capito out of West Virginia said a person who recently visited Glitchy Mitch while he has been in a rehabilitation center described the former leader as clear-minded. Okay. Capito told independent journalist Nicholas Balassi in a video posted Saturday that she knew what had been reported, that McConnell is recovering and is healing and is in a rehabilitation hospital. I talked to somebody yesterday who visited him and said that he's clear-minded and he just needs to get stronger, she said. Asked by Balassi if she would visit McConnell, Capito said she will wait until he asks for visitors. But you said this, you know what? Why can't he just put out a video? And why is he always fully dressed in this? You know what? Never mind. The dad is always clear-minded. Is the mind in the room with him? Yeah. Hold on. What was that? J.D. Pritzker told Trump, Chicago citizens that tariff money, you owe each family $1,000 plus. Yeah. I talked to somebody yesterday who visited him and said that he's clear-minded and he just needs to get stronger. She said she'll wait until he asks for visitors. I think anybody who's been in the hospital or in rehab facility being visited, I think is a pretty sensitive topic, she said. Well, he ain't had no visitors except for people who unprovoked have told us that they're going in there to talk shop with him, that they're going in there to talk business, that they do not care about his well-being if he is still among the living. All of them are going in, and I'm being extremely facetious with this, and claiming that, oh, they're looking for endorsements. They're trying to convince him to side with him. His family hasn't visited except for one reported sighting of his wife, but I can't even confirm that that was his wife because they're just saying that, oh, somebody had a hat on, glasses on, like they were essentially covered up. We don't know. I would think he would want some visitors. I've been in the hospital. I just don't want certain people to visit me. And before you get Taz, that's me. No, that's real. Y'all be sitting here lying, and then you get upset and in your feelings and frustrated and irritated when you're not clear about what your boundaries are and what you're comfortable with. Now, there are people I don't ever want to visit me, especially if I'm sick. Can you get stronger when you're deceased? I mean, rigor mortis. It'll make your body strong. This is why we can't have nice things. McConnell has been in a rehabilitation facility after he was hospitalized and absent from the Senate for several weeks after a medical emergency at his Washington, D.C. home on June 14th. His physician previously said McConnell was admitted to the hospital after falling at home because of mobility issues that stem from childhood polio. Here's the thing. We have footage of him being transported to the hospital. No sirens, no sense of urgency, nothing. There has been a young lady. Y'all remember the young lady that was on Inside Edition that claimed that a vaccine messed her up and she could only run or walk properly if she was going backwards. Y'all remember her? And then we found out it was all a scam. She tried to say that other people convinced her to do the scam, whatever. She's been there at the hospital every day. Okay, all over the place, getting all this footage. No footage of a visitor. She seems to know the right times to leave the hospital to go to Capitol Hill and harass people. No footage of an ambulance, a transport vehicle coming to get him, no nothing. And this isn't a regular, schmegular person. So I need y'all to think, because somebody is going to come up and go, well, I was once transported from a hospital to a rehabilitation center, or my aunt or my bestie or my boo thing was. You are not on the level of Mitch McConnell. Okay? We know that there's been security outside of his room. There's going to be security. They're not going to transport him willy-nilly. The last time he went to a rehabilitation facility, we knew because of the security detail, because of everything that had to go on. And embalming does a deceased body good, right? So he is not cast a vote for the Senate since June 11th. McConnell also developed pneumonia early in his hospitalization and received antibiotic treatment. His doctor's office said he was medically cleared to continue fully participating in his intensive physical therapy program. Here's the thing. There is an individual that works on Capitol Hill, a physician, if you will, that, is to advise staffers and members of Congress as to, yeah, this is appropriate. No, you should take a leave. All these different things. From his statements, he has not been made abreast of anything. They are holding tight to this. But I need y'all to remember when there was an employee of the Pentagon, a ranking cabinet member that had the cancer in the prostate, that went in for a couple of procedures and did not tell us. And rightfully so, there was a big stink about it. Y'all not angry enough. Y'all are willing to talk about this online, but when did you contact your representative? When have you demanded legacy news outlets to properly cover this and ask the questions? When have you gone to the contact us portion of the whitehouse.gov website? During their daily press briefings, when have you gone to the comment sections and demanded answers regarding this? When have you asked for transparency? When did you stop bombarding McConnell's staff office? And before you go, well, he's not my representation. Newsflash, bumpkin. Hey, Booski Butt. Once you are elected on the federal level, you don't just represent where you came from, who voted you in. You represent the country. You're supposed to work in the best interest of the country. So yes, him not being there does affect you. He's your representation also, whether you like it or not. This is why I have no problem contacting anybody that works up on Capitol Hill, because once you are voted into office and sworn in, baby, you're voting and you're writing legislation and passing legislation that will also affect me. Y'all act as if your local representation is only involved in legislation for your neck of the woods. That, oh, this legislation is just going to be for District 2 in Idaho. No. When I say contact your representation, I'm talking about any and everybody sitting on Capitol Hill. Yes, their priority is to look out for their localized constituency, but you're in the federal government. You are supposed to be a public servant for the greater good of the populace. The Kentucky Republican's absence stirred rumors online about his health, as the 84-year-old senator has faced a string of health concerns in recent years that have caused some to question his ability to serve in the legislature. We have been questioning his ability to serve in the legislature since like his third term. Following Senator Teddy Graham's sudden death, calls grew for an update on McConnell's condition. Somebody shouldn't have to die for you to be concerned about them lying to you about old Bernie Butt. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear pressed McConnell to provide the public with an update on the status of his health. McConnell responded with a message to Kentuckians about his health. Are you sure he did? Because I don't recall anybody taking a Ouija board up there. Along with what appeared to be a recent photo of McConnell with his wife, former Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao. Again, that photo, once again, you can go to TikTok. Mitch is like Freddie. You got that right. He dropped dead. You go to TikTok at TazJX or to YouTube at TazJ77. You can look at the once again, it is just a better quality Photoshop picture of him and his wife. As much as it frustrates me, this process takes time, McConnell said in a statement previously to The Hill. And on the advice of my doctors, I won't be able to return to the Senate floor to vote quite yet. But rest assured that in the meantime, hold on. Sorry about that. In the meantime, I'm not taking a break from the Senate business that matters to you. If you cannot return to the Senate floor, you can't participate in your job duties. You have to focus on rehabilitation, not to mention you're 175 years old. Why not just call for a replacement? You're already planning on retiring. This is what doesn't make sense. You're planning on retiring. Why put yourself through it to retire? Just step away. No, of course not. If it was a Democrat in the office, the GOP nor the general public would stand for it. That's the difference. I'm not even concerned about looking at what another political party would do. I'm looking at the general public. If this was a Democrat, even the Democrats within the general public, Democratic private citizens would be calling for information, would be ringing them through the crow. Here's the thing. Yes, it is good, whatever political party you have ascribed to. Yes, it is good to criticize and critique because iron sharpens iron. We get better through criticism and critique. Okay. But if all of your criticism and critique is for your own political party, whether public or private, what? This is how the GOP, specifically MAGA and Trump, are able to get away with so much. Again, every day I match energy. Ain't nobody more petty than me. I don't play about my money. No, you let other people play about your money. You let other people play about your autonomy. You let other people play about your freedoms. You let other people play about your well-being. Y'all cry about interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, familial relationships, and how you can't get it right. I can see why. I can see why. Y'all are so afraid to make people uncomfortable that you're dying and complaining about the method in which you are allowing yourself to die. You want to hoard information, but you don't want to do anything about it. You find great resources. How often do you share the resources? Because even though you may not do the work, somebody you know may do the work. So why not get them to the resources? Why not align them with the people willing to do the good work? Why not align them with the people who are willing to get in trouble for good reasons? Y'all get more upset about cock blocking than you do equity blocking. You want to be the belle of the ball. Reaching for attention is going to get you where? Doing what you're doing, how has it helped your bank account? How's it helped your financial security, your living conditions, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health? What has changed for the better in this country by you continuing to do what you're doing? Once again, we have come to the top of the hour. Keep in mind, it is Mutual Aid Monday here at the Taz Effect, and today we have two requests for mutual aid. One is a family needs assistance rebuilding after a fire. Their goal is $800. They have thus far reached $245. You can reach them on Cash App at mekapedsnp. If you're in the Tazisms or Sound of Coffee Discords, their GoFundMe link is there. If you are watching from YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Substack, the GoFundMe is linked in the bio. There's also a bill assistance request from a single parent family. Their goal is $250. You can reach them on Cash App at Mahogany Wave 82. That once again is Mahogany Wave 82. If you are looking for employment, you can visit coolworks.com. That is once again coolworks.com. Coolworks features seasonal and year-round jobs in hospitality, outdoor recreation, guiding, administration, education, conservation, nonprofits, and more, all in amazing places. For many job seekers, things like location, season, and housing availability are the biggest deciding factors. That once again is at coolworks.com. Once again, coolworks.com. I am in a unique position in regards to many people. I have the ability to view shows as just a regular viewer and sit in the comment section with people and view things that way, which can be irritating and aggravating all in itself. And we know that there are times I just watch, and I get to do it from the other side as a show host and as an EP. And far too many people, you don't want equity. And it shows. You don't. You say that you do because it's almost as if you feel like that will get you into a friend circle. That will get you a seat at the cool kids table. That will have people not realizing that you have no intention on ever being on the right side of history. Because you all very rarely listen to learn. You go into spaces to prove that you are the brightest, that you are the smartest. You will hear one or two words and run with those words and come back with not so fun idiotic facts that don't fit into the conversation at all. You rarely read the room. You want to be centered at every step of the way. Every step of the way. I have sat and watched people explain certain phenomena, and I watched the comment section prove the person right while the comment sections was trying to deny the existence of it. I have watched people, yes, listening from ego. Absolutely. I've watched people also dox people on a daily basis. Let me explain something to you. Whether you know someone personally, whether they are a public figure or a private entity, do not deviate from the name that they display publicly. If they allow you into a private or semi-private space, do not carry that information elsewhere. Consistently going into comment sections to put out somebody's full name is not a flex. And there's some people that are go, well, that's harmless. No, it's not. I don't think you all realize how much information you can find on a person with their name. And I think not enough of y'all are older than the internet to realize what damage has been done by just having a name. Just having it. There was an actress who was murdered because somebody got her full legal name, looked her up, went to her home and murdered her. I don't think you all realize how often stalkers get to the person that they're stalking because they finally get a name. If somebody goes by Methuselah 776 on the internet, that is how you address them. It does not, and I mean not, make you look good or make it seem like you cool or closer to this person because you're tossing out or hinting at their full name. It shows that you don't know that person and that you're clout chasing and that you need to find your 13th reason why. And I mean that from the bottom of my soul. I have watched people talk about them being doxxed and people come and give personal information about that person as if they're like, hey, buddy, hey, Malcolm Sylvester Warnergan the third. After they've sat there for 45 minutes talking about how their family was put in jeopardy because of the amount of times that they've been doxxed, that they are in the midst of people posting pictures of their home. I've watched people be vulnerable and talk about their mental health struggles and the crisis that they may be currently going into, and somebody come in and shift the focus, or they go, this is a hard boundary for me. I'm really working to get over this. So this is a boundary I need to set, and y'all will leap right over the damn boundary. You say you want change, and when people are willing to have the hard conversation to bring forth the change, you want music and jokes. You got to let them know, I'm leaving. I got an appointment today. Nobody cares. I'm going to say what nobody else is going to take. Nobody cares. It's wonderful that people come out and watch shows. It's wonderful that people engage with one another in comment section. It's wonderful when you're following the conversation and you add things to it and you ask questions. But when you come in and when you leave, no one cares. It matters when the people that you came to listen to, the people you came to see, if we're rude, if we're abrupt and cut the stream or just stop, that's where it is. You do know this isn't a panel situation. If it was a panel situation, you're being interviewed, you asked to come up, we bring you up, or this is why I stopped doing call-ins. Or we have you call in and you're like, oh, I have to go. That's understandable. You ain't commented the entirety of a show. And then I don't care. I don't care. There are many shows that y'all have no idea. I'm cracking up because some of y'all are funny. I see y'all in the comment section, and I'm cracking up. I will have a show on, listening, occasionally looking in the comment section while I'm doing my work. I'm there to support, and I am a fan of the shows that I tune into. I'm a fan of the lives that I tune into. So I sit and I enjoy it. There are people that I watch because I learn a lot from them. And the reason why I learn is because I know to shut the F up and sit and listen. Some of y'all come into spaces because you haven't handled your racism. You come into spaces to not listen, but to throw out what you think are factoids, what you think are facts. You're not following the conversation. You're not listening. We're not moving forward in shit. And some of y'all come to give excuses for the oppressors. Y'all have 101 excuses for those doing the oppressors, those doing the damage. You say things that you think are going to make you look cool to the host. You want to know what looks cool to somebody who's doing a live, who's hosting a podcast, who's hosting a show? You actually paying attention to what they're delivering. You actually listen to what they spent their time and energy and often money putting together to bring to you. A lot of y'all talk about not liking group projects because you would be left with doing the lion's share of the work, if not all of it. And then you'd have to watch somebody else get the A or B that you earned and listen to them talk about it and act like they did all this great work. You do realize that's essentially you're doing when you come into somebody's space and you TLDR all of their work. And for those that aren't on Reddit, too long don't read. And you really need to stop doing that in people's comment sections also. You go in there and you essentially cliff note what their content is about. Why? And it's to the point where people don't even really watch content anymore. They go to the comment section to get a summary. Why? And then you also get upset when people give up being advocates, being allies. And no, I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm saying I'm beginning to understand why people are giving up on it. because they're like, if you want to be entertained by me, that's what I'll give you. That is what I'll give you all day long. And like I said last week, if you believe that what people do is so easy, do it. Do it. I've set so many boundaries. They've just been ignored and crossed. So I know who has respect for me and who doesn't. I know who wants proximity and for what reasons. I would love to just go back to being the jovial, shenanigan driven historian that is Taz. But I fear that we will never get back to that. I don't think we ever will. Three different times recently, I've come very, very close to quitting everything. And I'm going to be honest, it is because of the general public. You enjoy being disrespectful. If you can comment, you can post. I tell y'all all the time, I get inspired by a lot of people. There are times I can be watching somebody's content, something to pop into my head from, it could be something that they said, something in the background, could be the music. I don't change the conversation in their space. I take that changed conversation over to my space and begin that conversation there. It is tiring to continue to give people respect that they won't give. And it is also very tiring to be willing to put yourself on the front line. And people take your safety as a joke because they're like, oh, but the internet isn't real. Guess what? I am a real human being. If you can understand that Rizzy took her real life on a real live, and I've told y'all before there was a Rizzy, the footage is still on Facebook. For educational purposes, it is still archived on Facebook. I have to do wellness checks with Facebook every so often in order to keep my account. Yes, live and live in color, almost right off the census, right into becoming a death statistic. You cannot scream the internet is not real, but want to harass people over AI because of what AI is doing to the environment through people. We're not going to get better until you choose to get better. You have to reconcile with yourself. Why are you willing to platform white people speaking for marginalized melanated people, but not the marginalized melanated people? Why are you stuck on the male gaze when we have had the lid put on the bucket that we were all tossed into? It's hot, it's cramped, and there's not enough resources in this bucket. But you don't want to help push the lid off the bucket and get everybody out of the bucket. We have to get to a point where accountability is a lifestyle that you're willing to take on. And not just accountability for everyone else, but accountability for yourself. You all keep giving excuses. Oh, because of the internet. No, human beings have been egregious creatures before any type of technology. Okay, we keep creating technology in order to increase our tyranny and savagery. Full stop. Social media didn't create the advent of keyboard warriors. Y'all forgot about prank calls? Y'all forgot about people getting egregious letters. Y'all forgot about people being sent anthrax. Y'all forgot about people being sent bombs. Y'all forgot about people pulling up on folks throwing Molotov cocktails at them. Y'all forgot about anonymous letters to people's jobs. People calling in to get people fired. People calling in or starting rumors and everything. Like, I need y'all to be so freaking for real. And also, I need y'all to stop making your damn generation your entire personality trait. Oh, this person needs a good old Gen X beat. Then shut up. Everybody in Gen X ain't got them hands. Everybody in Gen X ain't about that fight. They'll listen to Nuck if you buck, but they ain't bucking or knucking. And I need y'all to stop acting as if one generation at a time exists in a timeline. We're all going through this all together, from the babies to the elderly. So there's a little bit of everybody that's contributing to this. Now, for those in the Outcast Nation and the Villains Guild, I need you to get consistent in reporting your steps to either myself or Smoking Hot Mess Jess. For those that are not a part of the Villains Guild or Outcast Nation and you would like to help spread the word regarding it, see if anybody wants to sponsor anyone. If you are actively taking steps, reach out to your employers, friends, families. See if they will give $10 for every 100 steps, $20 for every 1,000 steps, whatever it may be. Collect your coins and get them in. It's no different than if you signed up for a marathon. Catch what I'm putting down? Good, good. If you would like to help in any other way, choose a member of the Outcast Nation or Villains Guild. Sponsor them. Or just decide, hey, from July to November, each month, I'm going to give y'all $10. I'm going to give y'all $20. You can do that. Reach out and we'll show you how. Okay? Okay. But I'm going to tell you this. We're not making concessions for non-members. If you want to participate, participate. If you would like to get your steps in, if you would like to do by the mileage, and you have somebody that's willing to sponsor you, let me know. I will add you to the whole total. Okay? Hey. But, and with $6 million for 6, we are funding the Villains Guild Benevolence Fund, for mutual aid, all of that good stuff. So when you need help, we can have the funds to be able to help you immediately. So I would think that y'all would be gung-ho to help us put money into the pot. Now, also, we are on a campaign to help Joey, beautiful, beautiful, soon-to-be 6-year-old young lady that has been battling cancer, who's recently been released from the PICU and will be able to celebrate her birthday this Friday, July 31st, at home with her family. You can, if you're viewing me and watch me everywhere but TikTok, my apologies, scan the QR code and go to her meal train for her family. That is what they're asking for. You can give them a gift card or you can donate some money for them to get pizza, birthday cake, ice cream, whatever it is that you want. If you are in, once again, the Tazism Discord or the Sound of Coffee Discord, all of the information is in there. Again, for any additional information, you can go to Linktree /Cincitaz, CINCITAZ, or you can go to the link in my bio. Again, for those of you all that said, I can't wait for your book to come out, It's out. This is the Anti-Racism Journal. There are journal prompts in there. There's also a mini glossary throughout the book. There are also Black history facts throughout the book. It is meant to be a companion book that you can take along with you wherever you go, so it can help you deconstruct and educate yourself. Do not forget, today is also Monday. So at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, there is open discussion on race. You can sign up through the link in my bio, or you can go to Linktree/Cincitaz. Once again, CINCITAZ. We will have Learning Through Literature tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Today, we will be going through Chapter 10, Part 2 of Lovely One by Associate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. You have missed any of the parts of either Lovely One or Not My Type. For this go-around series of Learning Through Literature, you can go to the respective playlist, Not My Type and Lovely One, on YouTube at TazJ77 and get all caught up. For more history content and journal prompts, you can subscribe to my Substack. Launch today. Clips from backstage of The Sound of Coffee is available on Patreon. There's also Adventures with Taz and From the Desk of Taz and miscellaneous commentary there. If you like, thank you, DJ. If you like us here over at the Taz Effect, and you would like to help to continue to see your girl, because it brings you daily news in a way that you did not know you can use. I don't think a lot of people realize that I give you the historical context that a lot of people don't. My commentary is not so much off the top of the head, but through a ton of research and education over the years. So a lot of books are bought. Go through a lot of paper because there's physical notes that are being taken. So if you would like to help offset the cost with that, feel free to do so. As always, each one teach one, each one reach one, and do not forget, feel free to stop over at GCPR.live and check out our complete schedule of all of our shows. There is something for everyone. And if you do like what any of us over here at GCPR do, tell a friend, bring a friend with you next time. Do not gatekeep us. All right. And if you have not already, please make sure you download either the Android or iOS apps for GCPR, or you can just do it old school, so to speak, and go to GCPR.live and take a listen there. You're not in the wrong chat. You can be in the chat for @TazJ77. That's completely fine. And as always, when you do view from @TazJ77, it does help my viewer hours. Then we can start getting merch links and everything up from there. Thank you, Dana J. There we are. Also, we do have some updates regarding the Epstein/Maxwell files at TazJ77 in the playlist listed as Epstein/Maxwell files. More likely, we will have another update Wednesday. Mutual aid committee members, there will be a meeting via Zoom tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're unable to attend, let me know. I will shoot you over the notes, just updating everybody on what is what thus far, and any major mutual aid requests that are there. I will send you the link. I believe, well, the link to the book is in my link tree that's linked in my bio, but I will send you the link directly, Nana J, as soon as I get down here. All right. You all be good, or at least try to be good at it. All right. And remember, your only competition is you, so be a better you today than you were yesterday. All right. Till tomorrow, chaps.
Turn the dial up, let the static fade away. We're building up the future, tracking every single day. Start the morning right, let the rhythm start to breathe. With the sound of coffee pouring, giving just what you need. From the sunrise spark to the late night glow, there's a space for your story and a steady undertow. When the sun goes down and the shadows start to lean, we close it all out with conversations with Jonathan. This is GCPR Radio, loud and clear, where every single voice matters, far and near. Yeah, we lock it in, connect the track, GCPR. Got your back, download the app on your phone today. iOS or Android, we're a click away. When the weekend hits, yeah, the energy shifts. Sundays bring the heat with a couple of gifts. The Kennedy effect gives us the hard-hitting news, breaking down the facts, clearing out the blues. Then Wangry and Gambler step right into the zone, rule from the position on the microphone, telling you what to watch, what's a hit, what's a miss. Then it's the villain's view for their random commentary bliss. This is GCPR Radio.